This morning, there are new concerns over Russia's growing involvement in the Syrian conflict. The Wall Street Journal says Russia and Iran are coordinating efforts to protect the regime of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Satellite photos show Russian combat planes parked at a Syrian airbase. Our David Martin reports Moscow recently flew more than 24 fighter jets to Syria. Samantha Power is the United States ambassador to the United Nations. We are pleased to welcome her back to Studio 57. Good morning.
Morning, Charlie.
This could be a busy week for you, huh?
Diplomatic speed dating, they call it.
A lot of focus on Syria. I was just over the weekend to talk to the Russian president. He's building up forces there, he says, to support President Assad. But his enemy is ISIS, he says. Is the United States concerned about what Russia is doing in Syria?
We're concerned about any approach that believes that doubling down on Assad's strategy, which has involved barrel bombing and gassing civilians and, in effect, empowering ISIL. We're concerned with anything that doubles down on that.
But the Secretary of State has said, right now, that's not our primary goal, President Assad. That can be a later eventual transition for him, but right now, we have a higher goal, which is ISIS.
Well, the Secretary, and more importantly, President Obama, is very clear that there can be no way to get at ISIL in the long term until you deal with Assad, because so many of the jihadis who are flowing to Syria are coming because of the horrors that Assad is inflicting on his people. So they're very related.
There's also a story that we're reconsidering our involvement there, because for a long time we didn't believe there was any moderate that we could benefit, but now the Kurds are doing better, and the U.S. is reconsidering its strategy in Syria.
Well, we've actually had considerable success, as you know, partnering with the Kurds in the northern part of Syria. In fact, the Turkish-Syrian border, which used to be a free-for-all for ISIL, now all but 68 miles of it is in the hands of responsible actors. So I think we are looking for ways in which we can reinforce that and continue to push out against ISIL.
But Russia has changed the dynamic.
Russia has introduced a new dynamic, it appears, but I mean, we will deconflict with them operationally. Our target is ISIL. If they pursue the Assad approach, it's only going to create challenges to our anti-ISIL effort.
Do you expect that President Obama will meet with President Putin in New York?
The schedule's not public yet, so I'm not going to get into that. But certainly, they're going to be every corner you turn around at the United Nations, you're going to see a new head of state. We have 154 heads of state coming, more than in the history of the United Nations.
Do you think the U.S. can trust President Putin at this point?
I think that clearly the actions in Ukraine, in effect lopping off part of a neighbor, and the disregard for international law is highly problematic. We have still, I'm on the Security Council with Russia, work with them every day on peacekeeping. We work together on the Iran deal. It's a very complex relationship. We walk and chew gum at the same time.
Yeah, I just heard you say that you don't know the schedule yet, but to Nora's point, Putin has made it clear that he would like to meet with President Obama. Do you know if the president wants to meet with him?
Again, we'll very, very soon
okay.
to announcing the schedule. So
I assume that means negotiations are underway.
Secretary Kerry, as you know, has had extensive contacts with Foreign Minister Lavrov, and operational deconfliction is going to be very important if Russia is in fact doubling down and flooding the zone with additional military hardware. The safe conduct of our operations in Syria is, of course, going to be paramount for President Obama.
One of the other big issues this week is the Free the 20 campaign, talking about female political prisoners around the world. What's the agenda there?
Thank you for asking about that. Basically, 20 years ago, Hillary Clinton famously went to Beijing. The Chinese hosted this women's empowerment conference. Hillary said, women's rights are human rights are women's rights. We're 20 years later, there's been vast progress made. Girls now are educated in primary school the same rate as boys. Representation in parliaments and so forth has improved, though not enough. And yet, women's voices are being silenced all around the world. So at the U.S. mission to the United Nations, we have hung the portraits of now 13 women. We're going to get up to 20 who could make a vital contribution around the world to their societies, but who are being silenced. China is hosting the 20-year commemorative anniversary of this, and yet there are 3 Chinese women who are part of our Free the 20 and many more who they represent. So we want to draw attention, get past the diplomatic abstractions, draw attention to real women who could be contributing, but who are being disempowered and imprisoned instead of empowered.
Who are you featuring today?
Yesterday we featured an Egyptian, Sana Saif, who's a 21-year-old Egyptian who just was part of the peaceful protests and has now been locked up, has so much to offer Egypt. Today, a Burmese land rights activist who, in fact, just last night was sentenced to an additional 4 months on top of a 6-year term. She's serving hard labor only for trying to ensure that poor people can basically keep their land and not have it seized by corporations.
Is today your birthday?
Yesterday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. International Peace Day.
That's right.
Somehow.
Ambassador Power, good to have you here.
Busy week for you.
Thank you so much.
Ambassador Power.
Thank you all.